So that brings us to today's question. You just saw this NPR attempt at a hit piece on Anoya Changa, and I really hope to collaborate with her sometime. And when I do, I'm going to be so embarrassed at how often I mispronounced her name, and I hope she doesn't hold it against me. Because I know I mispronounced her name a bunch of times, and I'm sorry, and it's embarrassing. But all right, so that brings us to today's question, which I tweeted earlier, and here's my question: Why? What do we do? What do we do to beat the corporate media? Now, I'm basing this question off of the article we just went over with Anoya, and we also what Ed Schultz informed us of this week. We covered that here on the show. For anyone that wasn't there for that, Ed Schultz pretty much told us MSNBC stopped him from covering Bernie's announcement that Bernie was running for president. They stopped him in his tracks from doing that, and they told him, you can't cover this. So all of the suspicions we had were true. And he says, hey, this is because a lot of the higher ups at MSNBC were in bed with the Clintons. That's why when people say, oh, well, you know, we face a really complex situation here in the United States because it's not good that our media is handed over to a handful of corporations and it's controlled by the advertisers and the people that buy their coverage. That's really bad. But government-run media, that's scary too. Guess what? We have both. We have both because the corporate media goes soft on politicians so that they can have access to them, so that they can have better ratings, so that the corporatocracy advertises with them. And they're also buddy-buddy with these people. They're buddy-buddy with the Clintons. They like Trump. Trump's helping their ratings. And they give you this faux hyper-partisan bickering that passes off as news to make you think there's actually a conflict when really they're all on the same team. Our media is run by the corporate elites, and some of the corporate elite happen to hold quote-unquote public office. Our media structure shouldn't be legal. It should be illegal for many reasons. So how do we beat them? Because guess what? Joining them isn't an option. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know this. But joining them isn't an option. So how do you beat them? You're not going to get policy. Policy's not going to come help you. For a long time, I entertained the idea that policy could potentially help us. But that's just not going to happen, at least not anytime soon. Because we live in a country where we don't even have the type of healthcare the rest of the industrialized world takes for granted. We don't even have that. Our media is public service for corporate America and the government. Yeah, I agree. Break up the 6 companies through the Antitrust Act. How would we do that? How would we do that? I mean, they're going the opposite way policy-wise. I mean, I'm with you. I'd love to see that happen, but I don't see that happening. Time to hit the streets, revolution. I mean, obviously we need to fight back by putting out as much content as we can. But that's try to convince one person every day. Maybe. You might be right. That might be the only way. And I mean, this isn't a question that really has a straight up answer, you know. It's one of those things. But I think the first step is recognizing them for what they are. They are a PR piece for the corporate elite. That's all they are. Because trying to apologize for them and trying to go soft on them, it's it's pointless at this point because they've made it very clear they're not on your team, and no matter what you say, they're not going to be on your team. I see people all the time. They do the mental gymnastics. Well, MSNBC, they stand up to Trump. I mean, what do you expect, man? It's like expecting Target to, do something really great. They're only going to be so great. They're Target. Yeah, Target's selling products. This is news and information. This is an essential tool for a democratic society, and they are the opposite of what a democratic society needs. The total opposite. Brian's right. They have to be ignored en masse. The only thing you can do, you have to take the profit incentive away from them, because without profit, they cease to exist. That's why cable TV news, their numbers are sinking like the Titanic. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to grab the internet. They're trying to have YouTube TV, and they're trying to exist on that platform. That's why an MSNBC and CNN clip gets way more views than it used to. Because they're trying to get into that now, because they know that they're sinking like the Titanic. Not sure if you need to beat them. On demographics, young people don't get their news from TV anymore. They get it from online places and are way more skeptical of what they see. That's true. But yeah, we still need to beat them because we're not going to coexist. It's just not going to happen. They still have a pretty big stronghold, Connor. They still have a lot of power. And when they try to stifle smaller creators, they can still succeed in doing so because they have the money. So they're just going to evolve with the platform. They're just going to evolve with the platforms, which is something we have to do too. How do we reach older voters, though? The whole fake news scam is their way of fighting back. That's exactly what it is. Cut your cable, go internet only. That helps. Yeah. The line is intelligent people versus lazy-minded people. I don't think people are lazy. Well, I mean, some people are, but I don't think it's a matter of laziness. I think it's just a matter of not knowing what's out there. A lot of people just kind of passively accept news in their life. And those people don't deserve to be shamed. I mean, obviously, if you're tuning into a show called Get Your News On with Ron, a show that literally requires you to help executive produce it, then clearly you like the news. Clearly everybody here is into the news, and it's an important part of our life. We want to be informed. We like participating within it. Obviously, everybody here is a pretty interested individual, right? That sort of goes without saying. Otherwise, you wouldn't you wouldn't be here. Not because and that's not me being like, yeah, you wouldn't be here if you weren't really engaged. But it's like, no, like the premise of this show requires you to be somewhat engaged. Like it's just sort of a prereq. Otherwise, you wouldn't enjoy it. Otherwise, you would be like, well, this guy, he's seeing all these articles for the first time. What's he really? But it's like, no, this is fun. We literally get our news on together, something that we do anyway. Now we get to do it with a group of people. Yes, Half a Bow, you're an executive producer. Add that to your IMDb page. In fact, if you all did that, that would make me so happy. Add executive producer to Get Your News On with Ron to your IMDb page. Technically, it's true. It is technically true. You guys tweet the articles. That's how I build this show. And occasionally I'll bend that a little bit. If I want to ask a question and there's an article that is relevant to that question that someone else tweeted, I will go there, sure. But for the other 98% of the time, I'm going to start putting it on job applications. Please do. Please do. I'm adding it to my CV. Do it. Can I put it on my resume? Yes. You can even list me as a reference. All right. So, yeah, the best way, Connor, yes, you can add it to your CV. Totally. Do it, man. Do it. So, I think the best way we can fight back is to yes, influence the media diets of young people, which is already happening. They're already, I mean, young people, and this is kind of a beautiful thing. A lot of young, and when I say young people, I'm talking about like kids growing up now, kids that are, and some of you guys are here. I mean, there's folks as young as 14 that check out this show on a regular basis, which is, and a lot of you younger people that check this out, you're way more politically astute and engaged than I was when I was your age. I mean, I didn't really start paying attention until I was like 18 or 19. So I would have never really understood. I never would have really understood a show like this if I was under 18. So my hats are off to you guys big time. But here's the thing. We need to can't fight against the youth because they're strong. Thanks, Dan. I know some of you hate the music part of this show. So, you know, I apologize for that. Fix your camera. You cut off your torso and have way too much headroom. I don't want you to see my torso. Sorry about that. Great show so far. Thank you. You guys are very kind. Y'all are the best. So I think, yeah, influencing young people, letting them see that there's no difference as far as what you can trust. There's really no difference between an independent journalist and somebody that's a corporate journalist. As far as trustworthiness, it's not like, oh, if they're not corporate, you can't trust them. It's like, no, you can either trust them or not either way. And the corporate media has a lot of shackles. They have a lot of shackles. And people need to know about those conflicts of interest. I think that, I mean, I would very much love to. I would have loved to have seen when they pushed the FARA Act on RT. I would have loved to have seen, you know what? We got to be fair, though. Now, what's going to happen is that we're going to make all the other media outlets, we're going to require them to say who owns them. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I would love to see MSNBC. Everything from MSNBC should say, by the way, we're owned by Comcast. So when you see a Rhodes Scholar like Rachel Maddow go on and pretend she doesn't understand what net neutrality is, she does. You really think she doesn't understand net neutrality? Of course she does. Of course she does. I would love for them to be like, by the way, this is Amanda makes NASCAR outfits. Exactly. They should all wear jackets that says who writes their paycheck. And it should say Range Resources, Oil and Gas, Comcast, Rupert Murdoch, Hillary Clinton, the Bush administration. They should be required to do that. And that would be policy I would push for. I'd rather see that because I don't see them breaking up the monopolies anytime soon. But maybe, just maybe, we'd have a chance of having more transparency in who owns them. Maybe that's the type of policy we need to go after. Because the old media is not going to go back to the way it was. Radio's never going to go back to what it was. Technology has moved on. TV's never going to go back to what it was. Technology has moved on. And they've already gutted it. That's why we can't lose the internet, because guess what? If we lose the internet, it ain't going to go back to the way it was. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So what we need to do, we need to unmask them. The best way to fight back and to beat them is to unmask them. Completely unmask them. And yeah, that's my answer. We have to unmask them completely. We have to make them say who owns them at the beginning of every sentence, every segment. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Every sentence. Every sentence Rachel Maddow says. So her show would be like, I am paid by Comcast. Russia, 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 Putin's bad. I am paid by Comcast. Russia, 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 Putin's bad. I am paid by Comcast. Russia, 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 Putin's bad. I am paid by Comcast. Russia, 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 Putin's bad. And what I just did is probably more engaging than her actual newscast is these days. And that's a shame because she used to be, like I say, Rachel Maddow, a couple years ago, I used to call Rachel Maddow a diamond in the rough. Now when I see a segment from her, I go, oh, that was rough. She used to be the best reporter on that network by far. She used to be doing amazing work. This Pro War segment was brought to you by Boeing. Good job, James. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so let's move on. Good question today, guys. Thank you for your insights. I appreciate it very much. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.